Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me now. We had an issue with our microphone, but got that all fixed, and now that we've got that going, we're going to talk again about our load. So, goodness, my microphone keeps switching to the mute button, so I'm sorry guys, we're going to just do this manually. So I won't be able to point to things very well here this morning, but we will get into the details on everything. As long as I'm tethered to this mic, it's going to be difficult to move around. Okay, so let's get into it here. So we're going to talk about, again, those low temperatures that we saw this morning. And as we take a look at our temperatures from the airports, other sensors around the valley, you can see that we saw some numbers get down to 37 in Fargo. By the way, 37, the last time we saw that, I looked this up, May 17th in Fargo. So that's been a little under 4 months since we've been into that range. So cooling things back down, and Grand Forks also got down to 37, more sites that didn't quite clock in at that freezing mark like we saw at other places, but we did see some numbers down into the mid-30s, which can, again, be frosty, as we talked about earlier this week. Air temperature is measured off the ground, so it can be warmer a few feet off the ground, and then at freezing at the surface. So anytime we get into that 36-degree range, we become concerned about frost. So Jamestown, Oaks, the Langdon area, Hallock may have seen some frost this morning. So let's take a look at one of the pictures that have come in from this round. You can see here, this is a car windshield. This was not just in the Northern Valley where we saw a lot of our lowest temperatures, actually in New York Mills, Minnesota. Our viewer, Scott, sent this to me, and you can see it's not a ton of frost, but it is enough that he had to scrape the windshield a little bit there. So Southern Valley saw some of that as well. I also had a viewer report that that there was some frost on their soybeans during that first cool down that we saw. So I'm curious to hear from anybody who saw frost today, or you've had had the we'll pull this up full screen, or if you've had the cool down last week or this week affect your crops or your gardens or anything like that. That'd be good to know and to be able to pass along. So if you have something like that that's happened, please comment on our Facebook page where this is streaming live. So let's get back to, so that was this morning. We are starting to warm up, and now the concern is becoming rain for us here in the valley, and wind as well. So I want to talk about something that we have to start looking out for this time of year in my Learning with Lisa segment. This is a segment we've been doing all week with back to school, and you know, we're getting into autumn, so there's lots to talk about when it comes to autumn weather. We've talked about when meteorological versus astronomical fall starts, frost and fog. We often see that more often in the fall time. Daylight trends, of course, we're trending down. And today we're talking about when is our first snow. And it's actually, the timeliness of this is actually kind of perfect, because while we're not seeing snow moving in, we're seeing rain moving into the valley this morning. Notice what we've got going on over there, off to the east. And we mentioned that this was a possibility over into Ontario. This is a 6-hour loop. We'll zoom in a little bit more here. North of Lake Superior, you can see some blue on the radar returns here over the course of the last 6 hours. So, you know, it'd be interesting to hear if they've seen some snow there, even if just a few flakes. But it is certainly possible this time of year there in Canada, where the coldest core of this air mass has been moving into, but also here in the valley. We have seen snow in September, actually. There are only 2 months in Fargo where a trace of snow has not been measured, and that is July and August. And here we are in September. So let's take a look at our stats. So overall, on average, September, for the month of September, experiences little to no snow in Fargo. But there have been times where it has been measured again. So the earliest snowfall report that I have seen is September 9th. So that's only a few days from now, 5 days from now in Fargo. And that was back in 2005. Maybe you remember that we had a report of a trace of snow. So not a lot. The first 1-inch snowfall that we see in this season that we have seen in Fargo is September 25th. That was all the way back in 1912, so that was a while ago, but it was a 2-inch snowfall that came down during that time, and that also contributed to the snowiest September on record. So there's only, less than, I would say, 10, maybe right around 10 times. There's 10 Septembers on record where we've had at least a trace of snow reported in Fargo. So we don't see it very often, but it is a possibility. And again, we're seeing it in the region east of us, but still in the area today as we speak. So again, this is a time of year when we start thinking about snow, start getting ready for the season to come as we head into the colder months. So let's talk about our first snowfall on average around the country. You can see those higher elevations. This is when it's more, when it happens sooner. So October is when we often see our average first snowfall in places like the Colorado Rockies, back up through Wyoming, up through the Glacier National Park area in Montana. And then, of course, in the northern tier, we tend to see our earlier snowfall. And ours here in the upper Midwest is, on average, more in early November. Now, again, we know we've seen it before. We've had some snowy Halloweens in the past, and snow in October, measurable snow. And we just talked about even September can be a month where we've seen snow. Rarely, but it happens. And even October for the Arrowhead of Minnesota, again, that's the area that is closer to where we're seeing some snow right now in parts of Ontario. So this is a month where we start to look out for this kind of stuff. We'll take this full screen here. A couple of statistics about a fall in general when we see snow. We'll move ahead to where we are at right now. Of course, snowfall this season, we're at 0 on this date, but it is going to be cranking up, and that's something, actually should say September 4th, but that's cranking up as we go through time here over the next couple of months. We'll be seeing those numbers go up. So just talking about fall in general, and a reminder, the season of fall for us in the weather world is September 1st through November 30th, so September, October, November. And the record amount of snow that we've seen during that 3-month period in Fargo is 35.3 inches of snow. So we've had 3 feet of snow during a fall before. And the depth is, the record is 5 inches of snow on the ground for the highest depth ever recorded in the month, or excuse me, in the fall season. And then just your average snowfall during the 3-month period of September, October, and November is 8 inches of snow in Fargo. So we'll, again, be adding up these numbers. We'll see those zeros go away at some point here as we head into the colder months ahead. And this says September 3rd because the climate data hasn't come in for today yet. So this is the latest data that we have. And, of course, we know it's 0. So that's snowfall for the season. Now we're talking about rain. So we've talked about the potential for snow, that we can start seeing it now as we're heading into September. But we're still looking at rain here, and here's a look at that on the radar. You can see that we're watching some showers make their way through in the northern valley, some showers moving in to the FM area as well. Jamestown seeing a shower too. This isn't looking heavy, but there's still that possibility we could see some rain that adds up. And temperatures are quite cool. We are in the 40s to some low 50s, 51 in Fargo, 48 in Grand Forks. So we're recovering from the chill that we had this morning, but we're warming up. And as we take a look at our wind data, you can see it's still not that strong just yet. A reminder, we do have a wind advisory in effect for the James River Valley, the Valley City, the Lisbon area. That takes effect at 3 this afternoon. So it's a little bit delayed right now. So waiting on that wind field to arrive. And you can see where it is. Minot, Augusta 48. We've got Augusta 46 in Dickinson. And as this kind of slides its way south and east, Jamestown, James River Valley could get in on those kind of wind gusts. So be ready for that this afternoon. And then that advisory lasts until about 9 o'clock tonight. So here's a look at Jamestown's wind gust forecast. Again, right around drive time is where we may see some of our strongest wind gusts. We're looking at 40 to 50 miles per hour possible in some areas in the advisory. So keep that in mind if you drive a high-profile vehicle. Might not want to be on the road during that time. It does start to come down into the evening, but still on that windier side. And that wind field eventually does spread eastward into all of the valley for late tonight and into tomorrow morning. Not nearly as strong as that, but still some gusts in the 20s and even some 30s. So we'll need to be ready for the wind. Add the rain into the mix and the cold temperatures, and it's just going to be one of those cold, raw, just unpleasant fall days to be outside, unless you love this stuff. And I know a lot of people have been looking forward to fall, but this is one of those days where it's kind of nice to stay indoors and stay cozy here. So here's a look at our planner for today. We're going to watch that rain move through. We're going to be tracking it basically into this evening. Where we see the greatest chance for rain is going to be in the north and east, it's looking like right now. But we could even get a couple of thunderstorms popping up, isolated thunderstorms on the warm side of the system, warmer relatively speaking. And that continues into tonight. This is 8 o'clock. We'll see some passing showers somewhere in the valley. And there are going to be some places that get more rain than others. And so by tomorrow morning, it's just more isolated showers going on. Still getting wind out of the northwest, though, into the 20s for gusts. And rainfall potential, well, this is going to be a heavy rainfall maker, but it will produce rain and the potential for, some measurements throughout the valley. Anywhere in this blue color, that's up to a ½ inch of rain. There may be a couple of pockets through Friday morning that see a ½ inch or more, maybe just a little bit over a ½ inch in a couple of areas. So for today, we're looking at temperatures that don't warm up a lot. We're going to be at 4 o'clock, the snapshot at that point, going to be rainy, especially in the north and east. Temperatures there more into the 40s this afternoon. South and west more into the 50s, maybe even 60 down by Sisseton and Aberdeen. And that's where the wind will be strongest for today. So windy throughout the valley over the next 24 hours. We'll all experience an increase in wind again. But that's an area that's going to see the strongest. And that'll be afternoon and into the evening hours tonight. And then tomorrow morning, we are watching out for, this is lows from this morning. We did see temperatures dropping down into the 30s. I think tomorrow we're going to be more into some upper 30s to some 40s. If we get some clearing tomorrow, that will lead to some patchy frost. So that's something to be aware of. Basically, all throughout this cold stretch, every night, it is a possibility if we clear out enough. There are going to be some nights that are cloudier than others. So let's take a look. This is Friday morning. You can see some breaks in the clouds, so there is the potential for seeing a little bit of frost again tomorrow if we cool down enough. But there will also be some areas with some clouds that will kind of help to insulate us. You can see a little bit of that blue on the map again into Ontario. And then heading into Friday afternoon, we've got some mostly cloudy skies, some isolated showers possible. Moving on into Friday evening, and then overnight and into Saturday morning, you can see some passing clouds. So again, we could see more areas where we see some frost, some patchy frost develop, and some showers still possible into Saturday. A passing shower can't be ruled out here as we continue on, as long as that low continues to swirl to the northeast of us. And that's going to continue again to bring about some cooler air into the valley as well heading into the weekend. Saturday night, look what happens here. That starts to pull away, and just as it starts to pull away, we clear out. We still have the cold air in place into Sunday morning. And so with clear skies and still partially in that cold air mass, we have the potential for more widespread frost development heading into Sunday morning. So that's another day we're looking out for, and it's also a first alert weather day. So here's a look at our morning lows trend. Again, today we actually got down lower than this. We got down to 37 in Fargo, so we certainly did get chilly. And then Friday and Saturday, upper 30s to low 40s possible. And then Sunday, again, watching out for potential for more widespread frost. You can see Monday, big time recovery. We get some warmer air starting to move back in, and that sets us up for next week for a much milder stretch coming up here. So let's take a look at, again, we have a first alert weather day. Today's a first alert weather day, and then again on Sunday, we're looking out for widespread frost potential for Sunday. Here's a look at our extended planner, our 11-day planner. You can see today I have about 56 degrees in Fargo. We try to warm up our daytime highs each day. Even Sunday, after having another, chillier morning, getting back down into the 30s in more areas, we're still trying to warm up in the afternoon as that air mass moves on. And so you can see by next week, relief in sight for those who aren't quite ready for this just yet. We're going to be into some mid to upper 70s coming up next week as well. So back to some milder temperatures, right around average or even above average, a couple of days coming up here. So again, want you to be ready for the rain, the wind for this afternoon. We got the frosty morning behind us here, but we still have to keep an eye out each morning all the way into Sunday. And then again, back to our series here of learning about fall topics as we are going back to school this week. Friday, tomorrow, we're going to get into the science of fall colors. And I've seen some trees changing over. I've heard from other folks hearing that the colors are starting to change a little earlier this year. So we're going to talk more about that and start getting into those fall color forecasts as well as we're working our way through this month, or through this season rather. And this month for that matter too. So again, we just want to wish you a happy Thursday. It is going to be on the gray side. I'll pull up our sky cam here for you. You can see the gray clouds. We are watching for, again, rain showers moving through the valley here as we continue on through the day. And be ready for that to potentially impact your travel plans, your plans to be outdoors as the day goes on. So we'll continue to keep watching this for you. You can check back with us this afternoon. We'll have another update here on Valley News Now. And, of course, on all of our newscasts as well. We'll be keeping you up to date on temperatures, the rain, the wind, and just that general kind of fall gloom we've got going on for this Thursday. And if you're not liking it, just know we've got warmer weather to come next week. Just got to hang in there. In the meantime, maybe, make yourself some chili or have a hot cocoa and warm yourself up a little bit and stay indoors as much as possible. Okay, happy Thursday, and we'll talk again tomorrow.